Hello again, and welcome to Shadowhawk Cryptids and Strange Encounters. Uh, Back in about 1987, I used to go to this record store. Well, it's a bookstore, record store in Ada, Oklahoma, with one of my cousins, and we used to go down there to buy music. I worked at a little factory down in Conowall, and so I'd go down there and buy mostly music. But one time I just got an itch to go down the book section and look around, and I saw this book that it had, I can't remember the name of it, but it had a bunch of stories that was all over the United States and the world, and it had like different cryptids, UFOs, kind of encompassed the whole subject of paranormal, cryptids, and all that, kind of like what my channel's about, But my channel is about getting the information out there, for people who are afraid to talk. I'm definitely not afraid to talk, Everybody knows that. But anyway, this book had a case in there on a topic that intrigues me and still intrigues me to this day. As mysterious as it is, spontaneous human combustion, known as SHC, abbreviated. Now, spontaneous human combustion is defined as the pseudoscientific concept of the combustion of a living or recently deceased human body without any apparent external source of ignition. Now, when you think about that for just a minute, if you put that together in your head, you got to think, man, that just don't make any sense. It sure did. It doesn't to me. But by all definitions, that's what it is. But because the thing that got me at first, even at that early age, at about 17 years old, when I read about it, I thought, man, what could make you, what could make you ignite or burn from the inside out? Because whatever it is, you'd have to be very hot, and you would have to continuously burn. Well, I knew back then, your body has fat in it, and fat will burn. Shoot, you get hot enough, and but what's the source? Yeah, you can go up like a piece of bacon with all the grease, from the fat that's in all our bodies. Even with a low body percentage, people get down to 4%, 5% body fat. You still burn like a brisket, in a hot grill. That's enough. But what's the source? So that's what's intriguing about it. But in addition to reported cases, descriptions of the alleged phenomenon appear in literature and in both types have been observed to share common characteristics in terms of circumstances and the remains of the victim. So I want to talk about this case that was here in Oklahoma, and this, I believe, it was on, I remember, NBC News, but this comes from the livescience.com website, and this happened, I believe, February 20th in 2013, and at the time they didn't know, but because the headline was, "Did an Oklahoma man die of spontaneous human combustion?" So Sheriff Ron Lockhart of Sequoyah County was investigating, and he was unable to determine. At least I researched this further, and I was unable to find the concluding report of this initial report that I'm fixing to discuss here. And it was a man, he was 65 years old. His name was Danny Van Zant. And he was the case of the spontaneous human combustion. They couldn't confirm or rule it out, but we kind of know what it could be. But okay. Van Zant's brother discovered the victim in the kitchen. Now that's kind of strange right there. You know, he died in the kitchen. But under the circumstances is why it's strange. And he immediately called 911 according to the emergency management. Fire crews found a badly burned body, but no fire damage to nearby furniture or other items. That's what makes it strange. Especially in the kitchen, you know, that's where most of your flammable stuff's going to be. If you keep stuff in your house. There were no signs of a break-in, a struggle, or any other cause of death. Spontaneous human combustion has long been the stuff of legend, but some researchers believe it is possible, though rare. In 2011, a coroner in Ireland ruled that the death of a 76-year-old Michael Faherty was the result of spontaneous human combustion, or SHC. For any item to combust, it needs at least two things: a source of ignition and a fuel for a fire. In many alleged cases of SHC, spontaneous human combustion, the victims were smokers or were near open flames like candles or a burning fireplace. Now, I've also heard that alcoholism plays, which would make, alcohol is flammable, so smoking, alcohol, I guess they're drawing the parallel there. But and for the fuel, for the spontaneous human combustion might come from the victims themselves. As we were saying earlier, the fat will burn, and fatty tissue is often located directly just right beneath the skin. Clothing and hair can act as candle wicks, according to researcher Joe Nickel. I guess that's his name here, Nickell. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Your clothing or hair act as a candle wick and just become a regular old firecracker and just go up. But Nickel investigated several such cases in his book, Real Life X-Files. And if you want to read that, I guess it's published by the University of Press of Kentucky in 2001, Real Life X-Files. I've checked that one out too myself. And here it is. Alcohol abuse is an additional factor in many cases of spontaneous human combustion, either because it causes victims to pass out or sleep soundly. Well, yeah, we know it does that. I sure do. Or because alcohol itself is a flammable. According to the KFSM, Van Zant was a heavy drinker and a heavy smoker who also had poor hygiene and no running water in his house at the time of his death. Wow. Investigators also noted that Van Zant had burn marks on his trachea, indicating that he may have inhaled a considerable amount of smoke and carbon monoxide, which can cause a person to lose consciousness and in high concentrations can be deadly, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Though the term spontaneous combustion sounds like a sudden burst of flames, Sheriff Lockhart told the KFSM the body appeared to have burned for up to 10 hours. Wow. And that's a long time for nothing else to go up in flames. I mean, the whole damn house should have burned down. But that's the mystery of spontaneous human combustion. Van Zant's remains have been sent to Oklahoma Medical Examiner's office in Tulsa, which was to determine the cause of death. Like I say, I investigated. I've found no further release of any information. So whether that's due to just the media or whoever just not wanting to release it, or it's private. Maybe the family filed a petition to, you know, it can be all kinds of reasons. You get into that, you know, jumping into a deep rabbit hole when you get into that, because laws can be in effect at that, I guess. But still be interesting to know. And that's what I have today for you. Thank you again for tuning in to Shadowhawk Cryptids and Strange Encounters. Peace.